The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Laugh like the sun always shines, spreading will, fun times, and there's always something to remember, always something to consider. Hi, this is Katreese Barnes. Something to consider. A new show for you, and we're going to be featuring music, musicians, archaeologists, astronomers, doctors, alternative doctors, professors, alternative health practitioners. Let's see what else we're going to do. We're going to do crazy people, not so crazy people. And you can tune in also on my Facebook Live page at Katreese Barnes. Now, we were having some technical issues, so tonight I'm going to have to do it a little old school, though this is not really technically old school, but my first guest, who's a super talented songwriter musician, bought an app but wasn't able to log into the feed. So we're going to have to do this kind of semi-old school, though it's not old school. Tony Terry. One of my cousins even called me up and said, Tony Terry, he still got it. He still got it. I mean,
well, thank you, cuz.
Well, if you can sing like you sing, you really never lose it, I don't think.
Well, you know what, though, Katreese, I like to think that I'm a student. I'm always learning, even, because I'm older now, and I certainly don't sing the way that I did 20 years ago, like when With You first came out, actually 26 years ago. When With You first came out, it was actually a struggle for me to perform it live.
Really?
Because it was, just technically, I just hadn't mastered how to perform it. But,
User disconnected from your channel.
Now, so I got it.
Wow. I would have never thought of you struggling ever when it comes to singing. Ever.
Yeah.
So that's wow. That's some new info.
And it's always exciting, learning still at my age, new things about my voice and what it will do, because it does things differently.
User joined your channel.
It's mellowed out and matured, and I actually like the way I sound now better than I did. While I appreciate the things I've done in the past, I like the way I sound now.
I know the music from the past, and as well the newer music, and not like it was bad in the past, but there's a richness there that is pretty special.
That wasn't there before,
Yes.
Yeah.
And your higher notes are rounder and everything. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Still learning, technique, and still practicing, and just still trying new things, which is real, interesting for me, because people think, you've been doing this so long, you know how to, but sometimes I still get hoarse, and I still have to figure out a round. I still got to perform and do what I have to do, and pretty much deliver the melody the way that people are familiar with it. So I've had to learn technically how to deliver the song, even when I'm not at full voice.
Yeah, because singing is so hard, I just don't even try to do it as much anymore. Let me just arrange, okay? It's hard. Singing is hard.
Yeah.
Because you have to stay well. Your whole body has to stay well. It's not
you have to stay. Absolutely.
And I'm showing pictures of you. Let me do another picture right now, which shows you're taking care of yourself. You look.
Yeah, thank you. I am. I think it's important. Because I feel like the best is yet to come.
Okay.
And I want to be ready. It's like, it's like like last week, for example, I got called pretty much at the last minute. So the show was Friday. Was it Friday? The show was Friday. The show was Friday, and I got called on Wednesday to come and tape for Black Music Honors. Right? Initially, they wanted me to do a tribute to Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell with Estelle. Which, while I love Estelle, I didn't quite see the matchup. But then something happened, and they couldn't get the clearance, and it ended up being, of all people, a Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway tribute with me and Shani. And it was brilliant. But, just being ready, because you never know when the call is going to come. So I just want to be ready, be in my best shape. And I think it affects how I sound, too.
Interesting. Well, when you came on Welcome to My House last December, you sounded like you were inspired. Yes. Because people come in at 5 o'clock. People don't know we come in at 5 o'clock and then we go live 7. There's like not much time to think and rehearse, and you just performed.
What a treat it is, or was, and is, for a singer to sit with, strings. I mean, that whole vibe was killer. That's such a great thing you're doing, Katreese. It's like, to watch that. For me, I look forward to every time, the next episode is coming. I'm anticipating it because I just think it's such a special thing. And listen, the last I checked, the performance that I did with you was like almost 90,000 views.
That's one of the most liked, commented, shared videos I've done. People,
it's just mind blowing. It just blows my mind. It was just such a treat to sing with musicians of your caliber, you and Jerry and Sherrod, and we have history, and it was just a treat. So I can't imagine any singer not loving and wallowing in that, because that was amazing for me. It was wonderful.
Oh,
I loved
thank you.
every single note. Every note y'all played.
Thank you. Well, it was great having you. And, some people may not know that I actually wrote a song for you that was a single years ago. Remember that? Remember that song? I'm going to pull it up right now.
Wait a minute. You pull it up. You got it?
I actually have it. It was called When a Man Cries. And
such a powerful song. Powerful song.
And at the time you were signed to Virgin Records, right?
Right. I was.
And I remember they spent a lot of money in that production, not only in the making of the song, but also the video.
That was the most expensive video I ever had. I think they spent like $500,000.
Yeah,
because they put me in a helicopter.
That's right.
Flew me to the top of the mountain.
On top of the Grand Canyon. You were
left me up there just like, what is going on? And then they left me up there with a boom box, right? And the helicopter was going to be just flying around me, doing this 360s around me. And the helicopter got pretty close on a couple of rounds, and I had to hit the deck.
Wow.
I thought but very fun. But now, remind me, because I have a memory that When a Man Cries was actually recorded by someone else before me, right? Was that true?
It was demoed by Gerald Alston. And you know what? Shaka Khan also did a demo of it too. But you actually, there was a female version too. Yeah, Shaka did a demo of it too. But your version.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah, I think I have to really dig into the arsenal to find that one, but it exists. Oh my God.
Oh man, I bet it was bananas.
Yeah, and I remember when it came out because the video was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. I thought that record was going to really, really blow up.
Well, Katreese, you don't know, or maybe you do, but probably not, the story behind my time at Virgin Records.
No, I don't.
We did actually think that, me being there was a good thing. and they spent a lot of money, on the video and the production, and then we were working on the follow-up album to that album, and my manager at the time, who shall remain nameless, I think you remember who they were, got into some kind of physical altercation with upper management at Virgin Records. And because I was signed to a production deal, I was signed to them when they had the deal with Virgin, and I was dropped, just like that. I was in the studio working on my next project. Everybody was excited. I was literally in the vocal booth, and I got a phone call saying, "Okay, that's a wrap."
Now,
I'm like, what are you talking about?
wow, I've never heard this story before. Was that also when the single was out?
Yes.
Oh, so that's. So I had, for all these years, I've had different theories of what happened to the song, because I said, this doesn't even make sense that a label would spend that much money on something that good, and it was such high quality production, even the video, like I said, that I was shocked that it didn't blow up. Now we hear the real story.
Yes.
See,
yes.
A lot of times people, especially in the conspiracy world, will say, "Oh, the labels treat artists like slaves." And I'm not saying that everybody's had a great relationship with their label, but I thought that this song was pretty innovative for the time, in terms of for an R&B artist to do something that pop, and then be given that kind of production for their video. It was kind of different right?
And listen, not only that, but why is the video not on YouTube somewhere? It's
wow.
All my videos when it's nowhere found. Recently, I found a copy of it at my mom's house. I was at my mother's house this past Christmas. We actually went to Disney World for Christmas, but before we went, I went to the house and I was rummaging through old videos, and I found a copy of "When a Man Cries," and I had it transferred. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'm going to put it up.
So do you think that video was just completely squashed because of that same altercation? Because you're right.
I would have to wonder, because, it's almost as if I was never on Virgin Records. No, you can't buy the music. You can't, there's no...
You're so right about that. Wow.
It was time that was seemingly erased.
Well, you really filled up a major hole for me in terms of Music Business 101 and stories, because I thought it might have been I heard things different networks didn't think it fit their format, and different radio stations didn't play it, but that didn't make sense, because it just didn't make sense, because the people who did hear it loved it. So
even now, today, I'll go into a place where I'm performing, and people will be screaming "When a Man Cries" out in the audience, why aren't you doing it? And I didn't, oftentimes don't realize. I just want to tell a quick story. I was asked to perform for the National African Leadership Council in New York at the Pierre Hotel. And, I was given this protocol about not singing to the African leaders' wives, and, how disrespectful that would be. So I just sang my song, and I sang "When a Man Cries," and I sang "Should a Man Cries," which Jerry, your brother, also produced. And both songs received a rousing standing ovation from the men in the room. And I thought, wow, here are these guys that are just, everybody was pulled up, and, I was given this protocol about, how calm I'm supposed to be. And meanwhile, they were so affected by the music that they just couldn't contain themselves. And I thought that was pretty powerful.
Yeah. I mean, was "Should a Man Cries" ever released?
"Should a Man Cry" was released.
Okay.
But it was. You remember, I performed it on the Monique show.
Oh.
And however, However, I'm about to release a series of EPs, and I'm going to re-release Should a Man Cry, and maybe When a Man Cries as well.
It should just be the Man Crying series.
The Man Crying series.
We need
Hey, Man Cry. We got to purge. We got to get it out.
We just
it takes a big man to let the pain show,
and a bigger man to let it go. I mean, I don't know if people can hear it, but I'm going to play just like 10 seconds of it.
Until he finds out, oh, he can't do it alone. 'Cause when a man cries, he's giving you his soul. He's giving you.
What? I just played a couple seconds of it.
Okay.
So you guys, you can find it on YouTube if you look at it right now.
That's a great song.
But you're not going to be able to download that. But I do encourage people who are listening to download Tony Terry's music. I'm part of my advocacy with my Welcome to My House show is to encourage people to start supporting music by downloading and paying that little 99 cents, because I don't think people realize how expensive it is to put out a project these days, or any day.
Oh man, the effort, the time, the hours, the sweat.
The sweat. I mean, I think back then, even when a Man Cries, the budget for just that one song was $30,000, if I'm correct.
Yeah, back then we were getting real budgets.
Yeah.
We were getting real budgets.
It was $30,000 for one song. So when people say, oh, music doesn't sound the way it used to, it's because, well, if you give a guy $1,000 and say you're going to have to do everything and pay everybody with that $1,000, it's going to kind of sound like it. So,
right, absolutely. You do get what you pay for.
You do get what you pay for.
Unless you know people.
Exactly.
You know people.
But I'm just saying that, I mean, $30,000 was spent really on production and, arrangers and players.
Yeah, it was.
And so, now when people are doing things independently, you need for people to buy the music so that you can funnel that into more music. And, and you've been doing this a long time, and you definitely understand how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't emphasize, but I think there are a lot of people now who just don't have that connect anymore. They just think that you just do it and it pops up.
Well, and a lot of people are just doing it, and it sounds like they're just doing it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just doing it. Everybody has a computer now, and a lot of people think that they can be a producer.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Unfortunately, some of the stuff that these would-be producers come up with actually makes it through.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're wondering how, we're in there, trying to write out melodies and tell stories, and, and then, and you come out with, then what?
And then it's all auto-tuned, and it's not even a real singer most of the time. Like, oh, really? Okay.
Right.
You're not coming on my show. I'm just kidding. No one cares. Nobody cares. They're like, well, that's all right. There is always the Tonight Show. And we can bring our, whatever we want on those shows. So, because on my show, you're going to have to sing live,
It's all good, though. It's all good. I'm really happy for you, Katreese. I'm proud of you. We've known each other for many years, and, watching you evolve and, all of your accomplishments. You've done some really, really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. And if your audience doesn't know, they need to know. So they need to Google you.
Well,
they need to find out who Katreese Barnes really is.
The only thing that people really respond to is Dick in a Box. That's all they respond to. It's going to be in my obituary.
Okay.
Hello?
Again?
I said it's going to be in my obituary. No one's going to care about anything else. It's going to be Dick in a Box. She was the one who wrote the music for Dick in a Box. That's going to be it. Oh, yeah, that one too.
Come on, man.
Yeah, but that's still kind of, that's still people who kind of are R&B old school fans. It wasn't as big as Dick in the Box though. Dick in the Box is global because it was on a TV show. Yeah. But enough about
Good
me.
stuff.
Enough about me, even though I have my website up right now.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to go to your website. Okay. TonyTerryMusic.com. And like I said, people, you got to support artists. You got to just, that 99-cent download. In fact, I encourage people right now, anybody you love, doesn't have to be me, doesn't have to be Tony, just anybody you love. Tonight, just go and buy one of their singles. Like,
buy one.
Just buy one.
Right.
Because you know what?
So you can download Inspired for free and buy one of the other songs on my website.
Because you know the industry is run by trends. If tomorrow 5,000 people bought a Tony Terry song, everybody would be looking at like, who's that? I mean, Tony Terry, he's back. Oh my God, he's doing well. Right. And then you'd be on all the morning shows, and then you'd be, it's a business about trends.
Make it happen, people.
Make it happen, people. That's one of my missions when I'm not going to be talking to crazy people on this show, is to encourage people to support artists and music and stuff, because 5 years can go by and we've trained people to listen to people who aren't really singing, and that they're going to think that is the new standard.
Right.
It's going to be that's going to be the new standard, and that's training the ears. So
I heard this kid singing Katreese, who literally sounded like auto-tune was coming out of his mouth. Oh, wow. And so I'm thinking, how could that be? But then I thought that's how he learned to sing.
So by mimicking the radio, he trained his voice.
The auto-tune to sound like that.
That is it's kind of funny because I mean, maybe somebody can take that style and then make it kind of cool.
And then process it in a way that actually makes him sound like he's singing.
Yeah, if you put enough reverb, yeah. I mean, wow. Oh, boy. Well, another thing that I find that's missing in music today is collaborations. And that's what I look forward to in producing my shows as well, is because, when you're just doing stuff in front of a computer, people don't realize that a lot of that classic music came from somebody having a string arranger or a horn arranger or a vocal arranger, and they all came together for so-and-so's project. And it makes a difference when it comes to the bigger spectrum of like quality. And it's also getting like other people's opinions too. It's like having a council. Some of the best music came from councils in a way,
Yes, I agree.
So
I agree.
So that's why everything's starting to sound like 4-bar loops, because.
Well, I tend to I'm working on this new music now, right? And I probably 90% of the time have talk radio on in my car, like when I'm going to and from the studio, or just in the car in general. One, because I'm tired of hearing the same 10 songs over and over and over and over and over again, primarily. But then the other thing is, I don't want to sound like that, so I try to, so I figure like I'm doing some collaborations with a lot of young writers and, arrangers and producers and all of these different energies, but I still want to sing the way that I sing. So I try not to be influenced vocally by these different singers that I hear, but I want to do what I do, but treat it with these modern productions.
Well, I think you did a good job with Inspired, because the one that's free on your website that people can download. And, I think you did a great job with that one, because let me put that up again, because it does have modern day elements, and there's no reason why that shouldn't be on the radio. But except for the fact that you don't have enough auto-tune on.
Right, maybe that.
You need a little bit more auto-tune to be on the on Top 40 Radio.
Listen, while we're joking, that is true in a lot of cases.
Yeah, but
And you know what's also now? Can I go this deep, Katreese?
go ahead.
It seems to me really interesting that black artists cannot sing lush, beautiful, produced, orchestrated records.
And it be mainstream. And it be mainstream. Yeah.
And it be mainstream, but white artists can do urban music. White artists can do basically an R&B record with lush arrangements and get played all day long.
Yeah.
I kind of think that that's strange.
It's very odd, and if you're a male, it's even worse. But it's been great having. It went by really fast, and thanks for making my first show special and informative.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I have so much respect and admiration for you and your brother Jerry Barnes that I kind of feel like we're family.
Yep.
And so.
Well, I hope you come back when you have your full project out and available. And like I said, this one is already free.
Yeah,
Inspired is free.
Will not be free. The whole album will not be free, so you better get it while you can.
That's right. Get this download while you can at TonyTerryMusic.com.
Get it while you can. It's only going to be free for another 24 hours.
Through the night, made me feel so right, and there's always